welcome to the Sweaty the Farmer and the Game Design, the only place where you get the most bloody and brutal red papers, boy. This is episode number 13, The Sins of Your Love. I am the London Gamer as the Sweaty.
I am Lucho the Farmer. Thanks for joining us in this episode. This week, you cannot judge me. I am justice itself.
But before that, let's take a look at this week's news. We have on the docket Destiny 2, 999 Shadowtron Run, New Age Bachelor Parties, and Lifetime Fortnite Bind opens conversation for fair punishments.
Okay.
Yeah, that's our news. Very exciting, very controversial, very everything. So let's start with the Destiny 2 999 Shadowtron Run.
Yeah.
You know about this, right?
Yeah, that there was a lore entry in a diary of some guy that said that if something 999 power clear solo Shadowtron, like you'll leave the curse on the Dreaming City.
Yes. So the thing was like there is this old lore book called Truth to Power, right? Which appeared when all the Dreaming City thing was going on, and it's supposed to be a lie, and it's supposed to be like made by Sabaton, which is one of the Hive ancient gods.
Yeah.
But the curious thing about this god is like every worm god feeds from something, right? So Sabaton, Oryx feeds from war, and Sabaton feeds from deceit, right? Mm-hmm. So if technically what we were talking about is like technically if she successfully like makes you do something or that you don't do, or makes you like don't understand you, or makes you like confused about something, or like hides the truth of the things, she gains power. That's the thing about Sabaton, right? It's the weirdest thing ever, right? So the book where this comes from supposedly says that if you run the Shadowtron dungeon with 999 light power in a single man fire team, you will stop the Dreaming City, right? The Dreaming City loop, which is trap, right? But the thing is, technically that's a lie, right? So what happened at the end of like, there was first of all there was like some drama around this, right? Because the guys who got to 99 power were like friends from a big streamer of the Destiny community, Glad, and then these guys were telling me that, Glad, you should run in my account the Shadowtron because you're like the best thing, blah blah blah. But the Twitch chat starting to say no because he was the one who do all the legwork to get to 99 power, so he should run it, and there was drama, right?
But that's fair, like.
But the thing is, like, those guys were offering to Glad to make the run. They were telling them from before, look, dude, I'm gonna like grind all these level 999 and you should do the run because the thing is like Glad and their fire team were the first ones to clear the raid from Shadowtron, the last wish, and they were the one who took the decision to loop the Dreaming Sea to start the curse.
Also, didn't the guy who made it to 999 have never run the Shadowtron before?
Yeah, he ran it like once or twice, like long time ago.
I think he never ran it before.
He never ran it before? I thought in the stream that he ran it like once long time ago when it came out, and he never ran it
What I heard from like YouTube videos or something is that he never ran it before, and that this was his first run, and that he just had the people, like all the other streamers that you were talking about, just helping him out, like giving him instructions.
Yeah, at the end, they give them a lot of instructions. But I was watching the stream when this was happening with Glad and everything, and from what I understand from the conversation, he like Bagel 40K, which is the dude who ended up doing the run. Yeah. He told them like. They asked him like, have you run the dungeon before? And he told them like, yeah, like once or twice, but a long time ago when Forsaken came out. So that's basically, that's basically like almost no. right? Because like if you run a dungeon, and the dungeons are not that hard technically speaking, but if you run a dungeon once or twice, well, you're not in long time ago, you're not gonna be that familiar with it, right?
Also, I feel like Shattertron is a confusing dungeon to run
Yeah,
through.
that's true
Like,
too. Yeah,
if we compare it to Sword of Pits, is the name of
yeah,
the new
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
That one's way more straightforward to
Yeah.
run. Also, all like black and white static of the Shattertron one makes it harder to see.
Yep, that is true.
It's a
That is true.
dark dungeon to run. I didn't like it that much, really.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. So he did run it. So they were like that was the plan of Bagel and the other dude who was running it, right? The
Yep.
plan was like giving the account to Glad, and because like he's very good at PvE stuff, just like let him run it, right? So everything goes smooth. But the Twitch chat was like, no, Bagel should run it because he was the one who got there, and blah, 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 blah. So there was a drama, and they end up pulling like all the fire team from Glad teams to help Bagel run the there was like 4 people coaching the dude, right? There was Glad.
Yeah, but
There was another 2 dudes. There was a dude who knows how to
I
skip
think
one of the fights,
I
coaching
think
him.
that makes it way more special than he giving his account to someone else.
Yeah. That is true. That is true. That was like at the end, it was like cool to see, like the dude being coached for like four peoples, and then they show them like a skip from the. You remember the ogre, the one that you drop
Yep,
down and
yep,
you have to kill the witches and then kill him.
yep.
They show him a trick to skip that boss.
Oh, really?
So yeah, in the and trying to doing it, so it was something like you take the mountaintop and then you shoot the rockets of the mountaintop to some walls, so they make like ladders for a time before they explode,
Okay.
and you jump on top of that, and then you do
Oh,
another
that
one on the
sounds
other side.
awful.
What?
That sounds awful.
Yeah, it's like so super glitchy, and the dude like took forever to do that because of course he never done it. And like he jumps on top of one of the rockets from a stair, and then he jumps on the other side, and there's like a little gap on top of the wall that you don't even like. You don't, if you pass by it and you look up, you don't see it,
Yeah.
right? You have to like explore it, and there is a little gap, so you have to like stem on a rocket with a sword, and then try to like kind of like dash squish through the little gap with the sword, and then you are out of it, and then you have to pass through some super funky, through some like buildings, and then jump, and then be careful because there's some invisible wall that will kill you. It was really weird, but at the end of the day, he did it. Right at the end of the day,
I just think the story of him being coached by a lot of people, it's a way better story than just I know this dude run it.
yeah, the Glad just did it.
Yeah, it just makes a better story overall.
Yeah. So and then he finished the run at the end. Like
Yeah,
he
nothing
was,
happened.
yeah, he was very well stuff. Blah blah blah. He killed Inkar and nothing happened. Right. I was there. They tell him like, oh, check all the chest and check all the stuff. Oh, nothing happened. Go back to Dreaming City, and they were talking about like, oh, maybe we should run it flawless, or maybe we should like I don't know. Run it with 999 all the time, because there was some points that he needed to change some weapons, and he dropped to like 998 or something like that.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. And then there was discussion afterwards, right? And then on that week, and then this was last week, around Thursday there was like a big blog post from Bungie saying, oh yeah, they did it and blah blah blah. And inside the blog post there was like a hidden message lore from Sabaton telling them that
Yeah, I saw that. That's
fools.
just Bungie saying, yeah, nothing happened. Nothing is gonna happen.
But the
Leave it
entire
alone.
conversation was like, it was clear, like the thing was like, the thing is like they can spin it however they want as Bungie, because it was clear that the book lore where that piece of information came was a lie, was a fabrication from Sabaton, right?
Yeah, but that's not a spin. That's just what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just a lie. So if you did that, like technically you're a fool, and the only thing that you are like the point of Bungie is that the only thing that you're helping is like you're helping Sabaton's plan because you believe her when in that lore book. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
Like if it is well established that the lore book was full of lies,
Yeah.
then it was a full servant to push
Yeah,
it.
and they did it. The point is like they did it, right? And they shouldn't because it was a lie. It's a falter, and it was not. You see my point? So it becomes interesting because now there are rumors that the next season has to do with Sabatun and the whole thing on the Dreaming
Nah, nah, nah,
City,
nah, nah.
and then they're
People
gonna give
getting
us the answer to end
nah. That's bullshit. Nah, nothing like that is gonna happen. People get in this like lore trains about stuff. Nothing's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
happen. It's really stupid. Like people get hung on meaningless stuff.
Yeah. So that's the interesting thing, but it was interesting. It was an interesting
Nothing.
event to see, like
It was
pushed by the
interesting.
community.
Nothing is gonna happen.
Nothing's gonna happen. You say that nothing is gonna happen. Absolutely nothing is gonna happen.
Yeah.
All right. Lucho's chips are down.
Yeah, of course. Nothing's gonna happen. That's why would you think that something is gonna happen?
I don't know. They have an opportunity as like the Destiny developers has a unique opportunity to take actions from the player and actually make them meaning, like have meaning in the actual story of the game, right? They did that with the raid, the Last Wish raid, right? Because the raiders at the end they have like a choice to make, and how they set up the curse of the Dreaming City, and they make that choice, and that was permanent, right? When you run the Last Wish raid, the choice is no longer there. You just finish, and then you get the chest, right?
Okay.
The first time that they finish it, there was like, when you went to open the chest, you have to all the people in the raid had to answer yes and no questions, and that will set up the curse, right? And that was a one-time unique event that changed how the Destiny world works, right? That's why part of like Forsaken is so iconic in terms of an expansion, because it had those little moments on it. So now they have the opportunity.
I don't think that's the right way to play your agency. I disagree with that completely.
Why?
Because it's just a once in a time. Like then my choice doesn't matter at all. And why do I care about the first raiders? I don't give a shit about them. I don't. What do you want me to say?
Fair enough. But it was like an interesting thing. Like it was an interesting payoff to a race. That's my point.
Yeah, my point is I don't care about that. Like if they want to give agency to the players on how the world shapes,
yeah,
give it to everyone. I don't give a shit about the first raiders. Why would I care about their choices? Like,
fair enough.
that's my point.
All right, yeah, I get it. But my point is like they have another opportunity to like change the world.
Yeah, and
maybe in a better way.
And I think if it is again one thing that if they do it in a way that is again just like a one-off for one person, I call bullshit. I say I don't give a shit about that guy.
So how do you set up? How do you set it?
I don't know.
Then?
I don't know because Destiny is not set up to that kind of thing from the beginning. It just doesn't seem like Destiny works that way or that they do questing that way.
Fair enough.
They could do it. Like they could do, for example, I don't know, player choice on the first month of a dungeon. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Everyone who completes the dungeon in this window, like a reasonable window of time, like the first month, like we'll take a choice, and by the end of the month, like
all the choices are weighted in, and then something happens. That's what.
Yeah, and then something happens.
Yeah, that's
something like that, where like more people get to participate, and you're actually rewarding the people who are there for the expansion or for the DLC or for the whatever they call it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think there was something similar at some point in Destiny, like something like if we have an X number of players do this activity, something X happen. I think that at some point there was something like that.
That's fine, but like the one-off thing, I don't like that. I don't care really.
All right, yeah, fair enough.
Because it's nothing that I'm gonna participate in, and like I'm an old-fashioned guy. Like I don't care about like all these off-game community stuff. Like
Fair enough.
who gives a
Okay.
shit? I'm not playing the game.
Okay.
Yeah, I play games. I don't watch. I don't look at forum posts and like I'm not a community member in that sense.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have a group of friends who I play with and I enjoy the game,
Yeah.
but I don't give a shit about all this stuff.
Fair enough. Fair
The greater
enough.
community.
Fair enough. And well, at the end of this, what was one more interesting from the lore side of things is like apparently this particular god, like Sabatun, is aware that there is a player avatar in the real world, and sometimes she speaks to the player directly, like not the avatar as a guardian, but the player directly through the lore.
That's if they're actually willing to break the fourth wall,
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
they're doing it. They're doing it. They did from like after this happens, they did it from like a Twitter account got taken over, and then there
Again,
were some messages
I don't give a
talking
shit.
directly to the player.
It's not in game.
What?
It's not in game. I don't
Well,
give a shit.
it was an expansion. It was kind of an IR, but there is lore inside the game where they reflect.
Really?
They refer to a player.
I've
Right?
never seen
To
that.
all the player or all the avatar controlling the guardian, something
I've
like
never
they
seen
make
that.
refers. It's like all like lore books in the Dreaming City, but is there in the is there in the like is in the lore. It's in the lore of the game.
Maybe I should play more with that. But if it is like a forum post or a Twitter post, again, who gives a shit?
Well, it's kind of the only way to make like the connection from the real world from the game world, but they already did it in the game, or you know what I mean? They just expanding as an AR.
Yeah, keep it. I don't. That's the point. I don't give a shit about the AR. Just do it in game.
All right. So make it more attractive inside the game, so you're checking the things outside.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I rarely check any AR for any game that I actually care about.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I'm not that player, so
You're not that kind of player that checks AR games and that sort of stuff
no. I have shit to do.
in the real world.
I have a fucking life too. I barely have time to play the games, and if the thing is not in the game that I'm playing, I'm not gonna care.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. You don't care. Okay, moving on. We have a friend of ours get married. Congratulations to Giuliano on his marriage.
Yes.
We hope that he gets
Congratulations.
a prosperous relationship, etc., etc.
He will. He will have.
And then I
a prosperous
found
life.
this news. apparently, bachelor party is getting like tamer and tamer every time, and people are forgetting about street clubs and hard parties and everything, and they're just doing like LAN parties and like super college like your bachelor party is just going and play all day video games with your friends and that sort of stuff. Very 90s college like thing, and it's barely
Dude.
happening more and more that
Do whatever you want.
do whatever you
As long as you're not harming anyone, do whatever you want.
Yeah, apparently the bachelor classic like stories of you go and drink and strip clubs and all the things is getting like less and less every time. um what is your opinion on that, Lucho?
And that I just said people should be able to enjoy whatever they want to enjoy as long as they're not harming others.
Yeah.
So if your fan is going to strip clubs and wasting money that way, do it. If your fan is setting
LAN parties.
LAN parties and stuff like that,
Have you
do
ever
it.
been in a LAN party, Lucho? Like
Yeah.
proper LAN party, go to a place, like
Yeah.
plug a bunch of computers. What was the last game that you played in a LAN party?
I don't know. It's probably Edge or WoW or Diablo.
Diablo was the last game you played in a LAN party?
Probably like
Two?
Diablo 2 or something.
Ooh, I think the last game that I played in a LAN party was Warhammer 40k, Sisters of War expansion. Big.
No, it's probably that or maybe Age. I don't remember which Age. Maybe Age 2 or Age of Mythology.
Yeah. But yeah, this is cool. I find it cool, and it was the same for my friend. Like his bachelor party was we went to a restaurant, we have some wine, and it was nice. And the same with like his after like reunion party, and it was like super tame, super
Good reception.
reserved. Yeah, the reception and everything was super reserved. So this I finding interesting in terms of the news because it is kind of true. Like people are getting like different tastes for what a bachelor party means and that sort of like congregation of friends to celebrate stuff.
I completely agree. Like you shouldn't just do what is tradition just
Yeah.
because it's tradition. If you have something that you enjoy and you wanna do it, go on, as long as you're not harming people.
Yep.
That's my opinion.
Yeah,
That-
yeah.
That's my life principle for pretty much anything in life.
Do whatever you do as long as you're not harming people.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah, man.
Cool.
Why
And
not?
finally, for the controversial news of this week, we're going into the realms of Fortnite. Game that we both agreed is terrible.
I'm not saying it's terrible.
Well, it's
I'm
not
saying
terrible.
I
We
don't
don't
give a
care.
shit.
But
Yeah.
the interesting thing is like a lifetime YouTuber, and this guy is like, not, he's like 17-year-old, something like that, super young dude. He builds his brand from Fortnite. He became like not ninja big, but kind of close, right? And apparently he did some YouTube content when he was showing off aimbots, right?
Yeah.
He was not going into the competitive side or anything like that. He was just like, oh look, there is this aimbot that works in Fortnite, and it's silly and I'm gonna showcase it. But he didn't like post any links to the aimbots, or he didn't do any promotions of it. He was just showing off how they worked, right?
Okay.
It was like it was for a place of like entertainment and like showcases to like if you know if you're getting aimbot or not. And he was doing like funny content about it, and he got after those videos came out, he got a lifetime ban
I agree.
from Epic.
I agree.
And like
Rules
things
are
like
rules,
he cannot.
and decisions have consequences. And you should be aware if you're going to show a name, but in a game that is mainly about shooting,
Yeah,
dude, how can you not foreseen? Oh man, like, come on. If you have any kind of audience,
yes.
life has consequences. That's it. You just made a poor decision. You learn from your mistakes. That's fucking life.
All right. So the thing is, like everybody is in divided camps in this. People are saying
Not
like,
divided. I'm pretty clear.
no.
agree.
When you already choose your camp. I say people.
I'm right. Life is unfair. Life.
The thing is like they're not saying that he doesn't deserve to be punished. The thing is like they think that a lifetime is too much.
I see this an opportunity to move on from Fortnite. So.
Oh my god. He's like, dude, take it. You be better for it. That's what he's saying.
There are better games out there. You'll find something else in life.
So all the debate was like, should it be in a lifetime? Because that
Yes.
destroyed his brand, and he's gonna lose kind of like the money and the thing that he's been building
Yeah,
for
and
his
that's
mistake.
no. Yeah, but that's what life is. Like you make consequences and you make decisions and you have to deal with the consequences. And some of them are really tough. Like you lose money, you lose jobs.
Yeah.
Like if you go out, like if you have an office job and you
Yes.
make something that is on the face like a stupid decision, even though you thought, oh, just for fun,
Yes.
you're gonna fucking lose your job.
Well, that's true.
That's what life is. Like what?
That is what life is. It is absolutely true.
No?
Yes.
Like-
Yes. But all the debate is like, if it's too much. Ninja came in and he was like, "Oh, I think it is too much. They should ban it like for a year or 6 months, something like that."
No, my the point with my analogy is you don't lose a job for a year. You lose a job. Like you should just go out
Period.
and get another one. Yeah.
That is
And-
true.
and it's
You
like-
don't- you don't lose a
It's
job
like
for a
small
year.
things. Like I work at a university, and
Yeah.
you picture if a professor says something inappropriate,
Yeah.
like he like he knows that it's inappropriate, and he knows that he will probably face consequences.
Yeah.
And you can lose a job, and like losing one of those jobs in the academia, like if you get fired, for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
no one is gonna fire, like no one is gonna hire you again, probably,
Yeah.
because you tainted your career. So you have to be careful with the things that you say, with how you act in front of people, and how you act in. And if YouTube is gonna, and content creation is gonna be like another career from now on,
Yeah. Which is kind of is
it's
by this point. Yeah.
which kind of is at this
Yeah.
point. It is reasonable that it could have like real life consequences that people have to be aware of. So
Yeah. Even me as a streamer and Twitch, I'm like kind of careful with uh like I know now that I'm a small streamer. I've not I don't have to be that careful with what I do and say on the stream, but like I respect the terms of services. I don't show like violence or nudity or that sort of stuff. But I know that when if I become bigger, I'm gonna have more eyes on me and probably have to be more strict about those rules.
yeah,
Because sometimes like my friends come into the stream, you have noticed, and they goof around and they say like crazy stuff and like
I
offensive
know,
stuff, right?
I know, and
And I'm like, it's not that bad. Like, but I know if I became like a little bit more bigger, if I have like a bigger audience, I probably have to like tone it down, way down, like way down.
yes, of
And it's the
course,
same thing. Like you have to know what are you doing in like, and it's like I think that the whole sentiment is like it's pity for the dude because the dude is super young and he's learning. But that's the thing is
yeah.
like,
We all did like the difference. We all did the stupid shit when we were like 16, 17.
yeah, the
But
difference
just
is
the
like he's
internet
such.
wasn't around at the level that it's now.
Yeah, the thing is, and the other thing is like he's like a public figure, and when you're a public figure, your mistakes are like publicized everywhere. So
but that's but again, if
yeah,
at that age you decided that you want to pursue a career in YouTube entertainment, something like that,
yeah,
you should be aware, or people around you should
tell you or help you or
tell
who
you that,
knows.
dude,
Yeah,
like your public life is gonna be different from most people, and you have to be aware of the way that you
do stuff. Yeah,
carry yourself out.
yeah. I think it was like a dumb mistake from the dude. Maybe he wasn't like properly counseled, or maybe
It
he
was a
wasn't
dumb mistake. I'm
aware.
not saying it was
Yeah,
not.
but like yeah, the whole thing is like if the punishment is too harsh or not. And I think I think you're right, Luch. I think you're right. I came in with an open mind and said like, oh, maybe he made a mistake. It's not so bad. But I think you're right. I think if you're like in the serious like job kind of thing, that is the consequences that you happen. If this in the if entertainment um and like influencers and that sort of stuff, like from like the last 2 3 years, stop being something that you do for fun and stop being like something that most of people pursue as a career and do for a job, like acting, like any sort
Yeah,
of like public career thing. And that is the thing. I think that is the consequence. What you
yeah,
do.
and like also you have to, and it's kind of hard, but like to put yourself a little bit in the position of Epic. Like they're trying to run this competitive game,
Yes.
like take it to esport like status and make it big and whatever they want to do with Fortnite.
Yes. Yes.
And like having a medium size content creator like showing off, even if he's not promoting it, but he's still just showing aimbot.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, like come on, like what would Epic do? Like they have to ban him. Like they cannot allow those things if they want to be taken seriously as an esport and stuff like that.
And like it's already a tough job for them because I don't know, Fortnite doesn't look like a serious esport in any shape or way. I don't know. I don't see it as a serious esport.
But they're trying to take it that way. Like
Yeah, they do. They do. They're trying to take like
they
super
have these
competitive
big
and stuff.
tournaments with a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it is. I know it's really hard to put ourselves in their position, but they're trying to protect their investment. It's like
Yeah, they try to protect the
That's
brand.
what you would do if you were in their position. Like,
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I
that's
get it.
all I'm saying.
I get it. I think you're right. I think you're right. Poor kid.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's taking his audience to like a better game. I don't know, play
Yeah.
Overwatch, dude, or I don't know, play something
Like
else.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, yeah.
There's so many other things.
Counter Strike, anything that actually requires a skill. I don't know.
Yeah. Apex has its own community.
They can actually like transfer them to Apex, right? Like the Fortnite competitor, and be like very close to what your audience wants.
Probably.
Yeah. And Apex is so much a better game.
It is a way better game, in my
Yeah.
opinion, as well.
Yeah. All right, and that's our news for this week.
Yep.
It was a very interesting and curious week, right?
A mix of news.
A mix of weird news.
Yep.
So we're gonna move out into our deep dive. But before we do that, our disclaimer that we're gonna use this time because last time we didn't use. The discussion here is based on our opinions and on our in-game experience. We are now kind of aiming to be game journalists, but not quite really. We're kind of toying in with the prospect, but the majority of things, like we do a little bit of research, but the majority of things that we talk in the deep dive is our own experience with the games, more so than a pure like fair journalistic point of view, right?
Yeah, there are a lot of opinions mixing.
Yeah, that is true.
Viewer.
So our deep dive for the next episode is going to be the Diablo franchise in the midst of the Diablo 4 announcements.
Yep.
So how do we begin this deep dive, friend?
Yeah, so I guess we should begin it with story time. How did we get into a franchise, and which games have we played in the franchise?
So a very
what's our
classic,
relationship with Diablo?
A very classic to come out and listen.
Yeah.
Quoting the cocaine.
Yep. Exactly. That's right, dude. That's right.
So yeah, how did you get into Diablo, my friend?
I got in Diablo when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Or middle school.
Yeah.
I think middle school probably. And like this friend of mine was a really good friend.
Yeah.
He had like a real copy, an official copy.
A real copy. A real? It was not fake? Not fake.
It's not fake. It's not a bootleg copy like
real,
mine.
not fake.
Yeah. Of Diablo 2. And he, like at the time, like you could just lend the game to a friend. Like you'll install it, but like I wouldn't have a license. I will still be able to play it just offline.
Oh. I see. So you can just like pass the copy around, but the only restriction is like you cannot play it online.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I mean, if you don't know that much about, I guess, the story of how
the DRM of the time,
all DRM and like always online games came to it.
They changed. I remember like they used to. Well, there is a thing like. Back in the day, there was not that much DRM, and then as the things went going forward, they were like asking like third-party software users to make DRM for the games, and then they become the thing of everything online.
Those were always hackable, and
yes, of course,
and
all those DRM were hackable.
Yeah, and Diablo 2 came at the same time that they were launching Battle.net at the time, Battle.net.
Yep, yeah.
So Diablo 2 was one of the first games that had this like online check.
Yes.
So if you didn't really have like an original copy, you couldn't log into the servers. But you could still get like or the physical DRM on the disc, play the game, do it offline, but you couldn't access the.
Oh my god! Or pirate stories.
I was in middle
Everybody
school.
did
I
it.
had no money, and
Everybody
I had a
did
friend
it.
with a game.
Yeah. Everybody did it.
So
Yeah.
he's a really good friend of mine. He told me like this game is really good.
Yeah.
We should play together. Because the thing is that you could still play in LAN, like direct IP connections.
Yeah, peer to peer. You can still play
Yeah,
peer to peer with
peer-to-peer.
your pirate copy.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't get into AutoNet, but we
Yeah.
could still do peer to peer.
Fun. Yes,
So
absolutely.
So he lent me his copy of Diablo 2.
Yeah.
I install it
Yeah.
and I start playing it, and it was so much fun. Diablo 2 was so much fun.
Yes.
I
Yes.
never played like seriously.
Yeah.
Like I played through a campaign and I beat the final boss and everything, and I remember that I struggled because I didn't know what I was doing, and the last bosses and the last act on Diablo 2, like you'll need to put on a lot of elemental
Resistances.
resistance.
All right. Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll be one shot by any effect on the floor.
Okay.
But I wasn't aware of that, so I struggled a lot with the game at the point.
So
But
what? You came
I
in
was-
and then you get exploded instantly?
Basically,
Oh my god.
like on the last act of the game.
Yes. 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 Oh my god.
Yeah, but that was he basically introduced me to Diablo 2, and it was such a good game. So dark, so much fun.
Wow. So many memories.
Yeah, and we actually played peer to peer a couple of times. That was a lot of fun. He had a druid,
Yeah.
and we'll do a lot of dueling, and he will always kill me, like just insta kill me. He collected all of my ears.
Wow. Okay.
It was fun. Like we will still like just run around like killing mobs and farming bosses. It was fun. It was good times.
Interesting. Interesting. Let's see. How did I get into the Diablo franchise? Let me think. I remember back in the old days when I was very young and the rocks were soft. I had a friend, and I never forget this. I have a friend who was I come from a small town, right?
Yep.
I come from a small town, so we have the and I was like, and I always been like super friendly to everybody. It's kind of part of my nature, like bad dudes, good dudes, like people who were older than me, and I end up being friends with them. And because I was like super chill, I never judged them for anything. And because in small towns, everybody's like, "Oh no!" Thing. There was this kid who lived like at the end of my block, like at the end of the block, right? And he was called Sebastian, right? And he was
Yep.
like this kid who had like Marilyn Manson CDs and Nirvana CDs and like
Okay.
hard rock CDs, very like heavy music things. And he was like called a Satanist because he was like a very dark and bad dude, and he almost didn't like go out and play with the other kids and blah blah blah, right?
Yep.
and like and nobody was his friend, like no, like they look at him weird because he was the weird, the other moms told the kids to not get close to them, but like I was a weird kid, so I was like, oh, you're cool, you have like weird stuff, I like weird stuff, I'm curious,
Yeah.
show me your weird stuff. So he came in and he showed me like Marilyn Manson stuff, and he had Diablo 1 CD in the old computer. Diablo
Okay.
1. I'm talking about 1992, I think it was this.
Yeah.
Talking about old Diablo 1 1992 CD. And so I went to his house once, like he didn't go out that much. So I always went to his house like when nobody was around or everybody, or I was free, or like at weird times. Like I I was a very quick kid to do my chores. So
Yeah.
I always went off to play very early, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and some other, like sometimes I went out to play and there was nobody to play with, so I went off to friend's house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes
So
sense.
yeah, and so I went out to Sebastian's house, and he was like, "Oh, look, I got this game," and blah blah blah. And my dad bought it. My dad bring it to me because apparently he was like, if I don't remember wrong, his dad worked in like United States or something like that. So he traveled a lot, and he lived by himself with his mom,
Okay.
right? He was kind of a lonely kid. He was like all the time alone in his house, in his house. But I think he was like older than me. Like at that time, I was like 7 years old, 6 years old, something like that, and he was like probably 11 or something like that. And he sit down with me, and we in this like old VCR computer, like yellow Dell,
Yeah.
very classic computer. And he put this game to it, and and it was like super bloody, super violent with the Diablo thing. And he was like, "Yeah, and you go into this church, and you kill demons." And I was like, "Oh, so great! What is this?" And blah blah. And that was my first sighting into Diablo. This
Nice.
friend showing me, this friend who nobody talks to, showed me in his old computer, in his computer back in '92, the first Diablo one. I never played it. I saw him, I watched him play it a bunch, right?
Yeah.
But it was like super entertaining, seeing like killing demons and go this all very dark. I've never seen something like that or this dark, because I've seen Doom. Like that was the closest thing I've seen Doom back in the day. And I
Sure.
had Doom in disc in diskettes. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah. Yeah.
collection of Doom discs. And we are old. Anyways.
Everywhere.
Yeah. So he showed me that, and that was my first thing in Diablo. And then years pass. Uh, Nick, which was on the podcast before, he had Diablo 2, and he'd show me sometimes, but I wasn't that interested in playing it. Because by the time the Diablo 2 was around, I had a console. So I was like playing more on consoles than anything else. So in the future, Nick showed me like Diablo 2, and he used to play Diablo 2. And then I was like, oh, this is curious. And I started to play a little bit of Diablo 2 on my computer back when I was on uni. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. But I never like dig deep into the game, right? I played a little bit. I played like the first thing when you go around and then you enter a cave and kill some demons, and that was it, right?
Yeah, like
Like I
the
wasn't
first act or something. Yeah.
yeah, something like that. And it was like, oh, super interesting, right? And it brought me these memories, but I was like, this is okay, right? And then I went uh, to uni in Australia, right? And a friend of mine was like super hyped for Diablo 3 release.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was back in 2012, right? 2012 was it? The
I
release,
think so.
2011, something like that, around that time.
Yep.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, in Diablo 3 and blah blah blah, and look at it, super cool." And I see the cinematics, and it's like, "Wow, this looks really good. This looks like very cool things that you should play." And he bought the game, right?
Yeah.
And 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 he was like, but he has this auction house, so I don't really like it, and you don't play anything else, blah blah blah. And then kind of he stopped talking about the game after he bought it, because he like bought it like fresh of the presses and something like that, blah, blah, blah. And then one time I went to his house to do a project, and it was in his desk, and I was like, oh, you still have the retail version of Diablo 3? And he was like, yeah, but I never played, do you want it? And I'm like, okay, I'll give it to you for $20. And this is 2012, like the game was super new.
Yeah, just right out of the
It's
out of
like
the batch.
I
Yeah.
didn't like it. And then he gave it to me for $20, and I have it here, like the box. If you're watching in YouTube, I have the original box, retail box of Diablo 3.
Nice.
Beautiful, beautiful box. And the end of days with all the showcasing the things, with the
Yeah.
CDs of installation and all the shenanigans.
I bought Diablo 3 on release actually.
All right, cool. And he sell it for me for $20, and I was like, but I don't play now because the blah blah. So I just bought it and take it home. But I didn't install it because I was so busy doing something like
Yeah.
doing uni and working, and doing uni and working, and like I skip all this controversy about the auction house and blah blah blah, and I started playing when they released the Reaper of Souls expansion.
Yeah.
right? Especially because for some reason they give me the expansion very cheap, right? Because of the
Yep.
code, because of the code I had for Diablo 3, because it was like a release code or something like that, and I wasn't playing. I don't know how Blizzard gives his promotions away.
That's fine. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And I started playing in Reaper of Souls, Diablo 3, and I like since then I played a lot of Diablo 3, a lot of Diablo 3. So that's my story
Nice.
of Diablo 3. Do you like it?
Yeah. Yeah. It was a good story.
Cool.
But you never finished the campaigns in the previous games.
I never finished the campaigns on the previous. I know the lore because I read and I
Yeah. Yeah. But
seen and everything else, but I never finished the campaigns of Diablo 1 and 2.
I did finish both.
You finished both campaigns.
Yeah.
Wow.
Later when I was in college, I played. I just downloaded. I got somehow Diablo 1
Yeah.
on the interwebs.
On the interwebs. R.
And I played like when I was in college. I was also super busy, but
Yeah.
like I could knock out a couple of quests in Diablo like after a long day work,
Yeah. All right, cool.
and I eventually finished it.
Came in, run some dungeons and stuff.
Just advancing the story. Like it was in the time when like after I knew I liked Diablo 2 and I wanted to know more about the game, so I just played Diablo 1.
Yeah.
And
Ah,
this
so
was
you just went back to
before,
experience the actual thing.
yeah, and this was way before Diablo 3 came. So
I got you. Everything makes sense now. Yeah. So yeah, I
yeah,
didn't
but
finish the campaigns, but I
I
play
don't
some of Diablo 2. Yeah.
I finished the campaigns. I don't remember the Diablo. I don't remember Diablo as much and as well as I remember Diablo 2.
Fair enough. Like Diablo 2 had a bigger impact than you than the
Bro,
first
yeah,
one.
definitely.
All right. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, but I think from now on we're gonna focus a little bit more on Diablo 3.
Yeah, is the one that we have played the most, both of us.
It's not only one. It's not only one that we have played the most. It's the one that has. Ah,
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that it's probably more relevant to
See,
the
to what it
recent
comes.
BlizzCon. Yeah,
Yeah, to the BlizzCon Diablo 4, and because it's the next one in the history, the
and
story
if
part.
we're being and if we're being completely honest, the systems in Diablo 2 are quite outdated to
To now.
modern
Yeah,
standards
of
for
course.
RPGs.
And
So
we talking about a lot of like Diablo 3 things that they did really right at the end of the in that the game is now a showcase of itemization stuff, like kind of baseline stuff that you should do in your games. We'll talk about it a lot in other podcast episodes, right?
yeah, yep, yeah. So let's get into it. How?
Let's get into it. Let's talk
Yeah.
about the
So
leveling
how?
campaign from 1 to 70.
Yeah, it's basically. I remember when I first played the campaign,
Yep.
like new game,
Yeah, new game. Yeah, yeah.
new game. It was hard. It was really hard to
Yeah.
get to 70.
Yeah. Did you ever get to do you get to 70 playing only the campaign? I don't remember.
No, you
I think you get around
don't.
50, something like that, right?
Yeah, I think I got around 50 something, and then
Yeah.
I did something to like at that point you were able to something else. I think that the thing that I did was kill bosses because that's the thing that you would do in Diablo 2.
Yeah.
Like the end game of Diablo 2, which it was never a thing. But
Nope.
the way to farm stuff in Diablo 2
Yeah.
was to kill a couple of bosses that were fast to kill.
Yeah.
So a lot of the replayability of Diablo 2 was just boss killing, which honestly was not a lot. But that's what people did, like to farm stuff. It was
You
just
just farm.
boss killing.
Yeah.
So I think I did that for a little bit in Diablo 3 at the beginning when it just came out. Because that's the thing that I was used when I was playing Diablo 2.
Yeah, fair enough.
But the leveling process is I remember the first time was super hard, like super hard.
Yeah, because I remember when like I didn't get into the multiplayer of the action as when I first got Diablo 3, but I did run the campaign like way before I started playing a lot, way before Reaper of Souls. I ran the normal campaign. Like I just did the campaign and I think that was it. That was my extended play, right? Because I wanted to see the story of Diablo 3, right? The go and the stone and that sort of stuff. But I think the leveling process is like pointedly speaking is really rewarding when you do it the first time. Because we're going to talk
Yes.
about like how the leveling process changed now
Yeah.
to when the game just released and it was telling you the campaign. So if you don't know anything about Diablo 3 and you go into the campaign, you're going to have a very good time. You're going to level up, you're going to get new stuff every time you level up. You're going to get like you're going to see the runes, how the powers change when you do stuff, how you're going to start like choosing which powers I'm going to put in your bar or not. Like that organic leveling process I think is very good in Diablo 3.
I agree. The problem is that it only works once.
Yes.
But I agree. It
Yeah.
is really fun and it's really rewarding the first time to just discover the class for the first time.
Yes. And you like take all this, and then it's like, and this that organic leveling process, it like with the addition of the story that they're telling you is very satisfactory, right? Because
I
you're seeing
agree.
the new bosses and you're seeing the story how it unfolds, and then you go to a war place and then you run around and you feel a little bit more powerful to like the escalation of the story is
Yeah, the
very
build up
good.
of the story is really good.
Yeah, the escalation of the story is very good and it's parallel to the power that you are going to acquire. Because when you go
Definitely.
when you go
Yeah.
like around Act 3 of the story, you're starting to get like those ultimate bar powers, right?
Yeah.
The like the transformation powers, or the like the super damaging powers. You're starting to get around Act 3 when the story starts to ramp up in this massive war.
That's yeah. Now that you mentioned, Act 3 is probably my favorite act of.
Is of Diablo 3, right? It's absolutely
Yeah.
amazing, man. All the sieges bosses, the fact that you run
Yeah.
around helping people, you're defending this fortress, right?
Yeah, that's story wise and like playing through, that's my favorite act to play through.
Yeah,
So
Act
much
3.
it's so much fun.
It's so much fun. Yeah. And then you go to heaven, but heaven is more like heaven is kind of an invasion, but you don't care as much as heaven as the game wants you to.
I don't think is yeah, I think for me it feels like the climax story wise is like on Act 3.
Yeah,
Then it falls like you finish that and it takes you to heaven, but it's kind of winds down a little bit and it's kind
yeah,
of okay, we save humanity in a sense. Now we have this greater goal that is our Tyrael and the whole high heavens stuff.
yeah.
But it kind of widens down and then it just ramps up at the end very quickly. Like
Yeah. For the fight with the final form of Diablo, the true evil thingy. By the
yeah,
way, spoilers
the
for a
primal rule.
spoilers for a 8-year-old game.
Yeah, it's come on. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Spoiler for an 8-year game, but it ramps up for the final evil fight in that like after because it's weird because you go in this side kind of side quest inside of heaven, like you go to the library of this dude
Yeah.
to get something instead of just like running, because the thing is like, oh, Diablo is now in heaven and he's trying to like get to the spine of the arch of heavens and destroy it, right? You're
Yeah.
supposed to be running to stop him from doing that.
Yeah, but you're doing a lot of like helping another archangels on the way.
Yeah.
Kind
so
of
it,
odd. I
so
agree.
it kind of loses momentum, right? Kind of
It
loses
does lose
loses
a lot of
momentum. Yeah,
momentum.
yeah. That's why Act 3 feels so good, right? Because it's
Yeah,
just like
and
builds
yeah.
up and builds up, and then you have the whole twist with the stone and the betrayal, and oh
So good.
no, and oh no, the niece of Deck Arcane is actually the very evil, and is this thing, and is the daughter of this very bad witch, and gasp.
Yeah. Yes, it is a really good act.
Yeah,
It has a lot of the story weight in it. Like, yeah, when Leia gets consumed by the primeval,
yeah. And it's
it's so
very
good.
sad because she's a very noble and good person. Like,
It is. It is.
and she's been helping you, and she cries with you when Deckard Cain dies, and she's like, "Doesn't matter.
And
we're
and
gonna."
that cinematic where after Decker dies,
Yes,
where she's with Tyrell at the graveyard and Tyrell
yeah,
shows her his sacrifice.
yes, 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 yes,
It's
yes,
super good. And like when she gets like, oh, now I get it. I'm
yes.
gonna follow my uncle
My
for
uncle, yeah. And the fact that she ends up being the person that you have to
yeah.
kill at the end is super sad.
By the way, I love that cinematic
So good.
of Tyrell fighting Imperius and
Oh,
sacrificing himself.
oh.
So good. So good. That's so and like if you didn't catch it,
Yeah.
that's what you cannot judge me. I'm justice itself.
Yes.
That's a quote from that scene. Oh, it's so good. I
Ah,
love Tyrell. That
yeah.
fight is so much. Some like really, if you haven't played the game, just do it for the campaign. The story
It's
is so
good.
much fun.
The story is so good. Like the story has been built up. Like, don't get me wrong, the story from Diablo 2,
Oh,
like the
this is
story of the
amazing.
Diablo games is super good. The lore of Diablo 2, we're gonna talk about it in the next podcast.
Yeah. Next podcast is out the lore.
Yeah,
And
because
why I like this light versus dark
yes, this version of light
narrative.
versus dark,
Yeah.
right?
This version, yeah.
Yeah, this version of light versus dark, and what happens between them, and it's like like I think the big difference is like there is no clearly right and wrong, right? Because if you play the Diablo games and take a note of the lore, there is angels who are dicks,
Yep.
and there are
They're
demons
just
who are not that,
assholes.
and there are demons who are not that bad, right?
Yeah, and a lot of the like the fallen enemies, they're just trying to survive.
Yeah,
And they just need
exactly.
to kill stuff to do it.
Yeah, but like, and that's the great thing. There is not a clear like you hate some angels. Like some angels have absolutely. What is the boss of the angels? In
Imperius?
Arius?
Imperius.
Imperius. That dude is a dick.
Yeah, but it's not on purpose. It's just that's what he is. Like
He's born to be a dick.
no, he's just his job is to keep all the high heaven traditions.
Yeah, in order, yeah, in the thing, but
He
still,
doesn't see justice or stuff like that. That's
yeah.
not
Who
what
he
he
is?
is.
Yeah, what he is. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, and
That's why we
then
are not held by any other archangel than justice because
yeah,
he is the one who sees justice.
because
Not
it's justice. Yeah, of course, it makes sense. But like, to my point is like the bad guy of the expansion of Reaper of Souls is an angel.
yep, yeah.
Yes,
Is the previous aspect of wisdom
the previous aspect is wisdom. Yeah.
because Tyrell became wisdom as a mortal in the high heavens. So good. that last cutscene of it says something like justice has been served now.
Yeah, yeah.
So now I ascend not as justice but as wisdom.
Wisdom. Yeah.
So good. I love that cutscene.
Tyrael, be my daddy.
Yeah, it's so good. It's such an amazing character,
Yeah.
and he's been like around all the games.
Forever. He's been like super central to everything, and to helping Earth, to helping Sanctuary and
Yeah,
in all this stuff. Anyways, so the couple of that leveling process when you discover all the powers with that story that the game is telling you is super satisfying. So the leveling from 1 to 70 in that first experience through the
Yeah.
campaign is super good, right?
it
But
is super good.
if you come into Diablo 3 right now and you say, "Oh, I want to see the leveling process," the leveling process of Diablo 2 from 1 to 70 is like an hour.
Like
Oh.
if you don't play the campaign, if you go out and look at what people do to it efficiently during
Yeah.
the season, yeah, it's just like power through greater rifts in an hour and you're level 70.
Done and dusted.
Done.
Yeah.
Which this may be popular, but I think it's a shame that you can do that because you're missing. Like, I get it; it'll get super boring to replay
Yeah.
all the story all the time, like each season.
Yeah.
But I don't. But I like the story so much, and I had such a good time doing it once, like even a couple of times because I leveled up. I play the story with each one character of one class
Yeah.
at least once
Yeah.
because I like to see all the dialogue stuff
From them. Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
All they have different dialogues. Yeah, that's true.
So I did it a couple of times. I enjoyed it all the times.
Yeah.
So I don't know if a part of me kind of wishes that each season you would have to play through a story, but part of me doesn't because it a good amount of hours of gameplay actually. Like the story is not that short.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
super long, but you cannot rush through that
Yeah. Yeah.
fast.
Yeah. Because you have like stop points and you have like dialogue points and that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you have like spares of time when you are traveling and there's not that much action in between.
Yeah, there's a yeah because that's what gives the game a lot of its sense of like being dangerous is that you're just walking around places.
Yes, 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 yes. But like in that sense, like that is built to serve the pace of the story that they're
I
telling you,
agree.
right?
I completely agree. It's that for that purpose.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of torn between would I like doing the seasonal learning up through the story or because it's really a shame that that learning process right now doesn't matter. It's just a
Yeah.
short two at the beginning of the season.
But yeah, but then my question is like, why will you like the thing is like when you change the experience of a game to be repetitive or have no not repetitive but it had like a end game, right? Certain process has to be like certain parts of the game loses his meaning in second playthroughs, right? And my point is like you cannot save that level experience that much if you're not a new player to the game, right? You cannot like relive that sort of stuff, right?
Maybe that may be true, but I don't know. Maybe like that you could, for example, label throughout one of the acts
Yeah.
that you pick one act and you play through that one and it just gives you like naturally all the experience that you need to reach 70.
Maybe that could be that could be a like if you want to relive, but it has to be an option, right? It has to be
Yeah,
like optional.
yeah, no, of course it's an option, but I don't know. I just really think it's a shame that no one plays the story anymore when it's such a good story.
You never know. There may be new players that are buying Diablo 3 before Diablo 4 just to like
I hope so,
and they're
but
gonna go enjoy the story and they're gonna go through all the acts and have fun with the leveling process. Like that is still there. Like that is still there.
it is.
That
Yeah, but
sensation is still there.
that's it is still there, but it's not our experience.
No, not this. We're talking about like that experience we have it like long time ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
with
that's
the
not
game.
how leveling works for each season right now.
Yeah,
And what I'm saying is that I wish we could capture some of that magic each
into
season
uh,
instead of just rushing mindlessly through levels that basically mean nothing.
maybe you can do it like WoW does it. Like just you just run through. Maybe something like WoW is gonna do it anyway. Like for the first character of the season, you have to go through the campaign with the modifier of the season, right? And that modifier of the season will change some things about the campaign. And then once you do that, you don't have to do it again for the rest of the season. Maybe that's a solution. I will,
Maybe it could be. Yeah, I'll be okay with that.
yeah, that I will propose for the game, right? That would be a solution. That would be a nice middle ground, right?
Yeah,
You'll still
I
get
just want to capture some of that magic. That's all
yeah,
I
some
want.
because the campaign is very well structured, very well paced. The story is very interesting. Like that, all that is still there on the game, on the base game. I don't like Act 5, which is the expansion part that much. I played, the story was interesting, but
I don't like the maps. The maps are annoying,
Yeah,
but
the maps
I
are
like the
annoying.
story.
The story is nice. Yeah, but replaying that campaign, because I think it's because of that, because the maps are kind of like annoying.
Also, it's because those maps are a pain in the ass when they show up in the rifts. So
Yes.
because they have a lot of slowdown and CC.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Like the enemies on Act 5 have a lot of slowdowns, especially, which it's
Yeah,
annoying
and
when
like
you're like speed running
it's
graves to
bad.
farm
Yeah,
stuff.
or they have like long corridors with winding things, and that's not that bad. That's not that good. And like with doors, for example, the ruins, the one that they have a bunch of doors that you have to
Yeah, but
click to
again,
open.
I like the ruins. I don't like the city with the angels, like the city tile sets.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
But I like the mountains, the yeah. Yeah, I like the mountain tile set that has like those little rooms with doors and stuff where you find the Horizon Cube and things.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. And for like the leveling right now from 1 to 7, again, it's just you just run a bunch of rafes and you know what you get at the end, and it's like super. And then the true leveling starts on the end game right now, right? Which is adventure mode. So what do you do in adventure mode, Lucho?
You just go out and farm specific set of missions that give you in each act, and that's it. Now, basically, adventure mode what does is that it unlocks all the map
All the maps, yeah.
and all the things for you to play,
Yeah.
and basically you can do and kill whatever you want, and it has like this
The
uh,
bounty system.
the bounty system. That's what
Yeah.
it's called.
Yeah.
I forgot its name. Yeah,
Yeah.
has this bounty system that basically gives you materials that you need to craft stuff.
Yeah, to make rolls and craft legendaries
Yeah,
and
to
put things on
reroll
the
stuff
queue.
and
Yeah.
craft things and cube things and all the things you need these materials from.
Yeah.
And basically, it's like you have a set of 5 missions per act,
Yep, correct.
and each one of them gives you a little bag of goodies. And when you complete all of them, it gives you a bigger bag of goodies.
Yes.
And you finish them, you log out, they reset, and you do it again.
Which is kind of like which is arguably the most boring part of high-end level content of Diablo 3.
um,
In terms of efficiency, right? You need this material for a bunch of things for the kind of end game. You need it for cube, you need it for like reroll stuff, you need it for like try to
yes,
roll legendaries, try to roll ancient legendaries, try to roll
you
what
need the
is
materials for everything. So you
what is
need to have, like, you need, once you're in end game, you need a farming setup to
to do
do
this.
this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not that opposed to. I don't find it that boring, but it's probably because I have mainly played uh, Witch Doctor, and the
They have
Chicken
super
Doctor
speed,
is
yeah.
super fun. No, it's
Yeah,
also
they
super
have
fun to
they have
play.
one of the most efficient uh builds to do this task.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the thing about like about bounties is like it requires a lot of travel time through the maps to go
it does.
from.
Yeah, because you load up in specific town portals,
Yeah.
and you have to walk to kill stuff or do the objectives or walk to the
Yes.
monsters.
So you have to be super efficient, and you want like a lot of like shorten the travel time as much as possible, right?
Yeah, you need basically speed running builds.
Yeah. So this mode is kind of like they're gonna take the maps from. They're recycling the maps from the campaign, so you can use them in the end game. If not, it was like just running rifts till your hands fall off.
Which is what you end up doing.
Yeah.
Like honest to God, you don't run that many
No, you do like
bounties.
two or three bounty runs per session as a
Yeah,
normal person, right? Something
or
like
maybe
that.
if you need material, like,
Or when you need materials, yeah. When you pointly need materials, yeah.
but that's, you don't have to, like, you really don't do it that much, and the bulk of the time that you spend at endgame is just like spamming rifts. That's,
Yep. That is it.
but I honestly don't dislike adventure mode, but that's probably because I love running the chicken doctor. So
Okay.
it's just super fun to run as a chicken doctor and
Okay.
walk super fast and then explode on the walls, one shot it, do the thing.
Yeah, it's like this system has had a bunch of rebounds, especially with the last the introduction of the last rarity of items, the perfect roll items.
Yeah,
What is the name? I forgot the name. Super
I forget
legendary, hyper duper.
ancients.
No, ancient legendaries are the ancients. There's one more that they just introduced recently. The one that get perfect rolls.
I don't know the name of that.
Yeah,
I
the
think I've
last.
never seen one of those.
You've never seen the last. You are guaranteed to get one of those at the when you level up to 70. No, when you
No,
finish your journey and no, when you finish Greater Reef 70.
you get an ancient.
No, when you finish Greater Reef 70, you get because you unlock them, you get this new rarity.
Google it.
I will
I'm pretty
Google
sure
it.
you get an ancient.
I will Google it. Let me Google it. New Diablo 3 item rarity.
A primal ancient.
Primal. There you go. Thank you. That's the thing. See, yeah, primal ancient. So
It's
when
not a
you
perfect roll. Like
when
you
you
just get a
get
primal.
when you get to when you get to when you
When
get
you
to
clear.
levels to do when you do a GR level 70,
When you clear
when you clear a GR level 70, you get a guaranteed primal ancient.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was my point of this?
I don't know.
Yeah, I remember. So the things like there's been a bunch of contention about the adventure mode, more pointedly because it's a system for the bounties, right? And the things like you need the bounties if you want to get like certain primals, if you want to chase that crazy dragon, you want to take your ancients and roll them with mats because they get chance to drop as a primal.
Sure.
Right, and that's what you do, right? And they up the drop rate on the materials. They make better adjustments to like the objectives because in the past you load up into a map and the objective didn't give you a direction half of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, now they instantly give you the direction, so you get lost and wander around the map trying to figure out where is the boss.
Yeah, but that
Yeah.
was probably just like a pathfinding problem with the thing.
Yeah, and it was kind of a quality of life. But the adventure mode right now, more of those like you can go to these all questions of the campaign and do the bounties, so you get materials for all the things that you have to do in the end game of Diablo 3. That's adventure mode in a nutshell.
It is kind of a sure, but I never really minded that much. Like, I don't know.
You don't know?
It is, in my opinion, a nice change of pace to the spamming of Greater Reefs.
All right, fair enough.
Because there is just so much Greater Reefs that I can stomach in a session.
Yes. Yes, I agree to that. Like, there's so much greater that you can actually take in a session. So you have like something else to do on top of that. But now,
I appreciate the change of pace of the one to where I can change to like an honest to god fun build that just runs around killing stuff.
fair enough. Now let's go into the nitty gritty of this whole end game debacle of Diablo 3, which is rifts and the game loop of rifts. So what are rifts?
I guess we should explain what rifts are because
what
we
are
have
rifts?
also been talking about them, and they're just like randomly generated dungeons that you have to complete in a certain amount of time.
Yes.
And you need to kill a certain amount of monsters in that time to summon the boss of the rift.
Yeah,
Boss.
those are greater rifts. They're difference between normal rifts and greater rifts.
Yeah, the normal rifts don't have the timer.
Yeah,
That's the difference.
And they give you gold.
They give you what?
They give you golden items.
Yeah, sure.
The normal rifts give you golden items. The greater rifts just gives you items at the end.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
They don't give you, they drop. That's different.
There you go. Yeah, they drop. They don't drop. They
Yeah, but the way if you say that they give you, that means that they give it at the end, but that's not true.
no.
It's the drops.
In Greater Rifts, the only thing that drops items is the boss at the end, the
Yeah.
Rift Guardian. In normal Rifts, everything drops items
Yeah,
and
everything
things
has
like
normal
normal.
drops.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you have to run normal rifts to get key greater rifts keys to open greater rifts.
Yeah.
That's the main loop.
Yeah, I mean the loop is you run rifts to level up, you collect keys. When you have enough keys, you start running greater rifts, the highest that you can run them.
Yes.
And when you run out of keys, you go back to running.
Greater rifts, so on and so forth,
Rifts,
and you accumulate
normal
items,
rifts, you
and you
collect
get
keys.
paragon levels. And
you get paragon levels, you get to level up your gems.
Yeah.
And that's it. I feel like the problem with Diablo 3 is that a lot of this quote unquote end game,
Yeah.
it just relies around doing greater rifts, and that
Yes.
as random as they are, and as fun as the gameplay is on itself.
After playing, how many seasons have we played? Like 6. I think I played like 7 seasons, 8 seasons of the game.
Even after just playing one season, like for 1 month,
yeah,
that gets old pretty fast.
Yes, absolutely. I think what they realize that the fun part of this end game is making builds, right? For at least for me.
Yeah.
For me, part of the fun part is like pushing and making these builds.
I wouldn't say that, but
you wouldn't say that. Yeah, for me it's like making these builds and then push with those builds and like kind of like try to decipher how they work. But the proper game loop is still the same. Like randomly generated dungeons, they have levels. Now we have 16 levels. At the beginning we had like 13 levels, and then before that we had 10 levels. So it's been like the bar is getting higher and higher because people are pushing more and more. And
no, that's a completely different problem. It's the power creep because by decision they decided that they were not going to level up the items, nerfing them. They were only going to level up.
Yeah, they will never nerf an item. That was like
by buffing stuff. So that just created a power creep problem in the game,
which is like crazy
at some point.
Yeah.
But that's a completely different story. That
Yes.
has nothing to do with that. With
so
and stuff.
we have this main game loop, and it's interesting in the way that always generate random dungeons. But the things like there's so much randomness that you can have with when the pool never grows, right? When the pool of what?
I don't think that's the problem. The problem is that in a season, that's the only thing that you really do, and it just gets all like even if it was because you're doing the same, like like no matter like you could change the maps each time, for example, which is impossible because you'll need an infinite amount of like tile sets and monsters to do that. But even that will get like it's just doing the same. It's just going around killing the same monsters, summoning the guy, killing the guy. It takes you what, like 10 minutes?
For a rift, that's too much time. Well, if you're pushing, it takes like around that time.
Yeah, for the great rifts, it takes you like 10 minutes.
Pushing. Yeah, if you're pushing, it takes like around 9-10 minutes to actually finish one.
That and it's just repeat that for as much time as you can. That gets old. It's just that like you just need more objectives to change that. Like
yes. I agree to this. Like the thing is like there's a big flaw with this loop because it gets repetitive, even if it's supposed to be randomly generated, etc., etc. It gets repetitive in terms of what the objective is, right? Yeah, and that's why they were suggesting of like keys modifiers, so the objectives change, because they've seen this. Like I'm talking about like the Diablo 4 spoilers, right? That's why now they're putting in Diablo 4 key modifiers. So the objective of you enter dungeon and the objective changes. On top of like the dungeon is randomly generated, etc., etc. So that kind of gameplay loop will change in the future. But in Diablo 3, it is absolutely right. That's the only objective of the thing. But then why do you suppose that there's still people doing this season after season after season?
I mean, because it is fun for a month,
Yeah, the game is still
but
fun to play
no one
for a
plays.
certain time.
No, but no one plays the season throughout the whole season. That's a lie.
Except for the streamers.
They kind of do, but they don't really.
They don't really. They change characters, they make challenges. But like by now I play so many of these seasons that by now the only way that kind of find satisfaction is playing hardcore.
I mean, that's fine. That's what hardcore is for. Like
Yeah.
that. I don't see a problem with that. Like after you have tried everything in normal, yeah, go to hardcore. That's fine. That in my opinion is a original thing.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with that. It's fine. It's just I don't, and like it's fine. That's that. I don't have a problem with you having to play hardcore to find satisfaction in the game. That's completely acceptable for me.
Yeah.
It's just that the problem is that I cannot play the game for more than one for
More
a month.
than 1 month. Yeah, that's true. It's not like it gets like and you get to final builds very like in a reasonable time, even if you're playing for that little time. If you're playing for only a month in the beginning of the season.
And I didn't think, like honestly speaking, I didn't think I could stomach more than that, even if I don't have a final build.
All right, for you the gameplay is just like too much. Like this loop is just like too much by now.
Not mean it's just I need diversity in the stuff that I do.
Yes,
Like
you need diversity in life.
it is just for as fun as I find the game,
Yeah.
and as much as I like the riffs and the thing, like I honestly at the beginning of the season I do enjoy the riffs.
Yeah, and then the new and now they're bringing like the
The
season
new modifier,
modifiers
whatever
and
they have, that's
yeah.
all fine and good.
Yeah.
But I can stomach it for a month. If for whatever reason I don't reach a main game build in that month or whatever, I don't care. I just cannot run any more riffs. Like
Fair enough.
don't give a shit.
And surprisingly, that's what happens to the majority of the Diablo
Of
3
course.
community. Like they play the first month, the first 3-4 weeks of the season, and then they disappear. And the people hanging around is like the streamers, which do a lot of a bunch of things in the season and push number ones and finish builds and make content, and that's it. The rest of the community is gone after that period, that high period, and then they reset the
Yeah,
season, and it happens
because
again.
no one can do just like spamming riffs for hours to no end for months. That's just
Yes.
insane.
Is the definition of insanity. Definition of insanity if you do a thing over and over
I
again.
hate that saying. Shut up.
All right. Anyways,
It's stupid. Like just repeating the same thing. It's just nuts. I cannot do it.
fair enough.
I'm
yeah.
surprised that people do it. Honest to God. And I love the game. Like
Yes.
I'm talking shit, but I love the game.
Yeah. The game's still very fun to play. That's the thing. But this main game loop is
It's honest to God. It's weak. It's too little. Variety is too plain to do the same thing.
I'm absolutely and you have to like put your own goals to actually make it enjoyable, but it still feels like at points I burn out of Diablo 3 after playing like a lot for a bunch of seasons because of that, because like it's fun for the first weeks, but after that you don't stomach more of this gameplay loop.
Yeah, and the problem is that I think they tried to work around it with the modifiers in the dungeons.
Yeah.
And the rifts, because they do have, and like the enemies have random affixes and stuff.
Yeah.
That's not enough, like, because it is the same. It is a small pool of affixes that you get. So
yeah,
at some point they're so high level that everything has everything.
and you're like, whatever. Yeah.
No, it's not whatever. It's just that after, if you reach that point, you have played so much that is, I have to avoid the ice. I have to avoid the laser
Pools, the
beam.
whatever. Oh, I
I
have to
have to
skip
avoid
this
the toxic
because
pool. But it's
yeah.
just that it's like, okay, these guys have chains of fire between them. I will
Yeah.
have to move a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah. Nothing
it's
revolutionary. Yeah.
it's not enough.
It's not enough. Yeah, that is true. It's not enough to vary the gameplay loop. That nothing surprise you at some point. Like
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, the big purple laser beams are shooting. I have to walk around
yeah,
and
yeah,
walk
that's true.
around.
And yeah,
And oh, it touched me. It one shot killed me. Okay, that's what's gonna happen when you're pushing.
yes,
Mm.
yeah, reset. Yeah, that's it. And that's the
Yeah,
way.
so
And I think that's the weakest thing of Diablo 3. That gameplay, that the gameplay loop.
I think, I think I think Diablo 3 came at an unfortunate time where this whole idea of having an end game started becoming a thing.
Yes.
So this is one of the earliest versions of that.
Yeah, this is
Like
one.
super
Yeah,
early.
absolutely. This is one
So
of the
it's
earliest version of what it means to have an endgame, quote
yeah.
unquote. Yeah.
So it is super dull, if you're being honest.
Yes.
And it suffers from that. It suffers from the time it came out.
Yes.
Because Diablo 2 never had that. And the people who played Diablo 2 for years, they were just farming bosses. Like they were just walking to a room, killing a boss, getting out of there, finding the next teleport, going back to kill the boss. And that is just way worse than what we have in
Yes.
Diablo 3. So yes, Diablo 3 is an amazing game,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have an end game
Yes.
at all. Like aside from just farming that, and it had PvP, and that's all it had. Like at some point you'll just farming stuff to just step on noobs.
Good job.
Yeah. So that's when people say that Diablo 2 was a better game. Once it was a different game
It
to
was
begin
different.
with.
Yeah, I think
It's a completely different game.
Yeah, I think that's the proper thing. It is a different game, right?
And it never really had that much replayable value. Like
Because it wasn't designed for that. It was not designed for that.
I agree. It
Yeah.
wasn't designed for that. And the problem is that Diablo 3 tried to was one of the first games that tried to have that added value.
Yeah, they added
So
because
it's a really
this system came
it's a
in
really
after.
really early version
Yeah,
of that.
the system the expansion of the old this system came in after trying to like give them that longevity to the game, because Diablo 3 after the Reaper of Soul expansion kind of got hooked in that like end game kind of grind stuff, but it has like a bunch of design constriction for the time it was originally built, right? So it's
Yep.
kind of it makes his best effort, but it's still not the best
Yeah.
in terms of endgame. All right. And now we're gonna talk about build diversity. Build diversity. This is one of the greatest things in Diablo 3 for me, at least.
It is
Right now, right?
Yeah, but it suffered from not having it for the longest time.
Yeah, that is true. There were a bunch of things that were not viable for a long time, right? And we all see the potential, but right now, in this sense, it is a success.
Right now it is successful, but it took them years to arrive to years and a lot of power creep to arrive to.
Years and a lot of power creep. All right, let's talk about the beginning of build diversity in Diablo 3. Well, it didn't exist because we have the auction house and legendaries didn't drop ever. And we didn't have sets. And then it came Reaper of Souls. And with Reaper of Souls, they destroyed the auction house and they introduced the sets to the game. And technically, sets is what gives them diversity, quote unquote.
I think it was their attempt to build diversity.
Yeah.
Because if you just take one of the Diablo sets, it is pretty on your face what the set is for.
Yeah. It's like
these are the abilities that me who designed the set want you to take.
Yeah, and this is what is pretty cookie cutter. It's pretty cookie cutter. It's like
Yeah.
this set is for this ability. Are we okay
And
with
it's for
it?
this build.
Yeah, and you have to use this ability. If you don't use this ability, the set is not doing anything for you.
And it had good intentions because there are a lot of sets.
Yeah.
It's just that they were not balanced, and that was a problem because if you were really pushing for greater rifts, there was one set per class.
But but I will argue that there was this weird thing with the sets when they started to do it. It's like they didn't truly took a decision, right? If the sets were meant to only enhance a point and ability, right? Like a set of ability or a power in personal, that would be all fine and dandy. But the things like when they first run the sets, they did this one set which worked with everything. Right? If you notice in every class, there is this one set which works with all the abilities. It just gives you like this passive power of damage with whatever you do.
Yeah, but
with whatever you use, right? And for me, that shows weakness in the intentional design of the set, right? Because if the intention of design of this is what like enhancing this certain type of abilities, you won't have a set. You will have a set for each ability that you want to enhance, right? So the work kind of half doing it.
But even if you have that, like there are just abilities that are bad.
Yes.
So you assign sets
Yes,
for the
that's
bad
not the
ability.
problem. That's not a problem.
No, it's the same problem because
All right, fair enough. Yeah. Because what?
Because you have interlocked these two things. You have skills and abilities, and you have the sets.
Yes.
So if you assign sets for each ability,
Yeah.
there are gonna be sets that are of course gonna be bad because just the ability is bad. Like,
all right, yeah, I got you. But I think that should be more. That should be better than have sets that works with everything.
and I feel like the intention of those sets are just to get you up and running to farm the thing that you actually want. It's like a general set that you get like early endgame.
But if that's the intention, they should done those sets like way weaker, and they should not be sets. Anyways,
I'm
like,
okay with those being sets.
Yeah, they could not be set. Like I don't think they should be sets because if I insist, if the intention of the sets are enhancing an ability, and you have a set that enhances
that has to be the intention. That's what I'm saying. Like you can design sets for just like early endgame set. You know?
Okay.
It's gonna give you like a spike of power when you get it.
Yeah.
But it's still not the end form of the build.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, there is a bunch of those sets that you're talking that works for like in-game builds.
Now.
Yes, now.
After a lot of tuning.
Yes.
But that was probably not the design intention at the beginning, and that's what I'm saying.
Probably
the design intention at the beginning was we're gonna have sets that give you a power spike when you get it.
Yeah.
But it's not the most powerful set, because the most powerful one should be the ones that only buff one or two abilities or a specific build.
Yeah.
And these generalistic sets are kind of a stepping step because they don't want you to just jump to the end.
All right. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. And then we
have... there is a place for them. It's just that by the way that the power creep works in the game, you're not encouraged to stay on that middle step for too long. The game is encouraging you to just jump faster.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? The power creep that happens on the game distort all those intentional, like initially design intentions.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I don't think it was a bad design decision.
No, it's just distorted.
It got destroyed by whatever happened with the game with the pass of time.
Yeah. Man, this game is it's been so iterated. Yeah, and then we have what is the name? The Legacy of Dreams builds, right?
Legacy of Nightmares.
The Legacy of Nightmares, now Legacy of Dreams.
Okay.
Yeah, the past Legacy of Nightmares, because there is these two rings which augments if you're only using legendaries and not set items. And now, like just two seasons ago, we have a stone which does exactly the same. A legendary stone, which is Dreams. Legacy of Dreams is the name of the stone. It does exactly the same. It gives you power for each piece of legendary item that you have. Because not the intention is like those builds when you want only legendary items were like very end game builds, right? But I think even if they were that end game, they were not that powerful. So now they're trying to, if your choice as a playstyle is I don't want to use any sets, then from the beginning you can have builds that don't require sets with that stone, with the introduction of the Legacy of Dreams stone.
And sure, that's fine. Like the problem is that it's still the legendaries in the game by design are not that strong.
The legendaries in the game by design are not that strong. The legendaries of Diablo 3 are very good.
They're not better than
Sets?
sets.
I will argue that there's better builds of legendaries only without set than are set builds. That they're difficult. They're more difficult to actually like put together, but they're more powerful. Only legendary builds in the game that are more powerful than sets builds.
Yeah, but if you need all of your items to ancient, come on.
No, because yes, I know. That's what I'm talking about. Like that's what I'm talking about. That it took you like a long time to get to that build, but those builds are very powerful.
Yeah, but sure they.
But that was
if it requires an stupid amount of grind,
but that
no one is gonna play that.
But it was fixed now with the new stone.
I don't think it fixes it completely.
Yeah, because it doesn't require you for the benefits. It doesn't require the legendary to be ancient.
How it does? How doesn't it?
It doesn't require.
How?
Like it says on
what
the stone.
What did they change?
The stone, the power of the stone. Like you know that Legacy of Dreams gives you like 500% per piece.
I know what Legacy of Dreams does.
Legacy of Nightmares, right?
Yeah, I know what Legacy of Nightmares does.
And Legacy of Dreams is like if you have a legendary item without any sets, it gives you that power like 200, and if it's an ancient, it gives you more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get it, but that doesn't change anything.
Why not?
Because you're still like, because by principle, it's still the bonuses that you should get from sets are more powerful and are easier to get.
In principle, but the thing is, the multiplier that Legacy of Dreams offers you is sometimes more powerful than multiplier of the sets gives you. Especially when there are particular skills that you want to use that are very good and it doesn't have an associated set. There's a bunch of skills that don't have an associated set with them.
I know.
There we go. And then you use the general set to make them powerful. But if you do the Legacy of Dreams thing, it is more beneficial that the generic set.
Yeah, fair enough. But I don't think that's a viable way to play throughout the game. It still sounds to me like a viable thing to when you're pushing.
Why not? You have a proto, like, to get you to the ancient, right? To the full ancient set, so you can have an end game Legacy of Dreams build, right? The Legacy of Dreams is giving you a starter, because if you have if you have all the legendaries that are required for that build in the normal legendary form, now with the Legacy of Dreams, you can take that build and make it work, even if everything that you have is not ancient.
Maybe I haven't played with that. I'm not sure.
You haven't played with that system? Yeah, it opened up a
skeptical.
bunch of like build diversity for that, because they give you that option that you can do only legendary builds without having to be ancient legendary, and you can start up with a Legacy of Nightmares build from the beginning. And the only thing it takes from you is a socket from the legendary gems.
I'm skeptical.
You're skeptical? You should play with the system. It's cool.
I'm skeptical.
All right. So, and we will be talking about legendaries and that. Let's talk about the items per se. So how the items works in Diablo 3 is we have common, uncommon, rare, legendary, and set items, and the legendary and set items, which are green and brownish, can be ancient legendary and set, which is a better version of themselves without changing the special properties that the set has and the legendary has. And then on top of that, we now have primal, which is that same item, that same legendaries and set items, but in a perfect form, with perfect roll, with 100% rolls, because the items in Diablo 3 they roll in a range, right? And the
Yeah, they
difference
have
is
random rolls.
they have random rolls in a range.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I lost my train of thought. Train of thought, come back. Here it comes. And then and the difference between the legendary is that the legendary gives you a power, and then the sets gives you like combined power when you have some two, 4, and 6 pieces, right?
Yep.
Of the sets. And that's kind of the itemization of Diablo. And that gives him like a high build diversity in paper. Right?
In paper, yeah.
In paper, yeah. And then they have these old patches to like buff and try to balance, because they have so much sets and stuff and things that affect the multipliers on top of multipliers on top of multipliers. That actually balancing this game has taken them a long time.
Yeah, they've been struggling with that for years now.
Yeah, but I think they're now starting to get into a happy place. In season 16, and then now in season 16, they're actually releasing new set items for the monk, and they promise us that they're gonna bring us new set items for every class.
In season 16?
Yeah.
But
Next
aren't
season we're gonna
we?
have new set items.
Yeah, but the season coming is not 18?
Is it 18?
Pretty sure.
I lost the count. Season 18? Is it already season 18? I think season 16
Yeah.
was the last season that I played, so
No, season 18 is the one coming up.
all right. Sorry guys. Season 18 is the one that is coming up. And
Yep.
we're gonna have we're gonna have new set items per class. We're gonna have monk and crusader first, kind of trying to go back and showcasing that those abilities, and like they already have experience on how to balance properly and take all the community feedback for the balance of the game. I think that's what the teams of Diablo took more at heart, and the actually community were giving them good hints of where the balance should be in the game, even if everything is super explosion power creep now.
Yeah, but I mean, that was like the power creep thing was a signed decision that they took a long time ago. So
Yeah, Lade, we double it. We took disability and we took the damage of disability and we double it.
not just down, like that was just a decision. Like,
Yeah, they were never gonna nerf stuff. They just
yeah,
wanted to keep like tuning things upwards and upwards and upwards.
yeah, they backtracked like in season 15 or 14,
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
but
Yeah,
by that point
it was too late.
they were following. It was not that it was too late. Like they've been buffing stuff for years at that point. So
Yeah, that is true.
it was bound to happen. It is now.
Is now gone to the heavens.
It is what it is. Like you
Yeah.
just.
So what do you find more interesting about the itemization in Diablo 3?
I think the sets are the best part of the itemization. I really like it.
Yeah.
It's just that it was always going to be a difficult task to balance them out. Just because the skills themselves are unbalanced. So
Yep. Yeah, they should. I think if I could go back in time, I will try to balance the skills of the game first, and then try to balance the itemization after, right?
the problem, I think the problem with that is that the imbalance of the skills was not evident, like was made evident by the sets. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like they
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
look
yeah.
that bad without the sets, but
Yes,
once the set bonuses came out,
yeah.
you realize, oh shit, like yeah, some of them are really broken.
But then that was the point when you will start to like once that's evident, then you start to go through the actual bones of the game, right? It's like if you're
Yeah,
it's like if you
I
wanted to
don't.
if you wanted to wear a plate of armor, right? If you wanted to wear a plate of armor and you go and you feed your set you feed your plate of armor to your body, and then you go and test the plate of armor is going to be super heavy, and you're going to notice that you lack either strength or certain type of training to actually be efficient with that set of armor. So what do, you don't try to modify the set of armor that you already have because it fits you well. You train yourself to better work on inside the set of item, right?
Not necessarily.
But they
Like,
did it backwards. They just modified the set of item, but you
that's
still have the
still
same weakness in movement and agility.
no. But that's still a completely valid approach. Like,
All right.
why are you trying to use a heavy set of armor? Like, if you want to really, like, if you want to be slow in the battlefield, then you modify the armor because that's what you want.
So it was a problem of approach. That the approach that they took wasn't that effective in like balancing the items and not checking the actual baseline abilities.
I think the problem is that they were slow to react,
All right.
and that the fact that their decision design was to nerf stuff was
Yeah.
a problem. I think that was the fundamental mistake that they made, because there were abilities that you cannot buff to make them just as powerful as the
And
other
the other
ones.
ones, no matter how much you buff them.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
So things like, for example, like the chicken explosion.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You cannot buff that ability so much that you can make it efficient when you're pushing.
Because it
So
will be
that build,
dumb.
yeah,
Can you just end up if you like try to make that ability efficient, you'll be one shotting stuff because that's the point of the ability, right? You do a
yeah,
big explosion.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. I see.
So
yeah,
so
yeah.
then the point is, yeah, I cannot buff this skill as much. Like, I need to bring the other ones down. So when they decided that they were not gonna nerf stuff, they wrote themselves into a corner. Like,
Yeah, yeah. All right,
there was
yeah.
only one solution.
Yes, yeah, I
And I
see.
feel like they tried that corner for a long time, and they were slow to react to the problem. Yeah, no, like, we have to nerf some stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we have to bring some numbers down. We have to change some of the multipliers to add even bonuses because it is just too broken. Like,
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. But yeah, that's true. They took like I think we had like from season 6 to like season 9 or 10 was like no changes to a bunch of broken stuff. Like there
yeah,
was this big gap when they didn't change anything and the game was full of broken stuff and like super imbalanced and stuff. If I remember correctly.
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I just think whoever decided that they were not gonna nerf stuff wrote the whole team into a corner. That's all I'm saying.
But I think it was that guy. It was the guy that we're gonna double it. The guy. It was that designer who took that the one that was heading the Reaper of Souls team.
Yeah,
One of those designers was the one who took that
sure.
decision.
You can make a good expansion and still take bad decisions. Like,
Yes, we are
it's fine. Like,
humans.
no one is perfect.
We're all full.
I'm not saying that guy didn't do anything good. I'm just saying that specific decision kind of wrote the whole team into a corner when talking about balance.
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
Also, probably the people who work on the base game and the expansions
Yeah,
are not necessarily the same people that work on the on the live game.
that is true.
Like, probably a lot
That
of
is
the
true.
like high level designers that take the design decisions, they
We're
move
moved.
to
Yeah,
other
we're
teams.
moved. Yeah, absolutely. And by now we know officially that Diablo 3 is now in the legacy
Yeah,
team.
but even before that,
But even before that, yeah, yeah, yeah.
probably like the head designers who make the decisions, they don't stay with the live team.
Yeah, and that's totally in like and we know by now that it's totally normal in these kind of cycle games.
Yeah, and it is normal. It's fine. It's just that if the guy who assigned the game
He's not thinking in that.
is not thinking about what is gonna like the effect of that his decisions are gonna have in the lifetime of the game,
Yeah,
it's hard to say, is this a good or a bad decision? And maybe he was not thinking at the time about that, and
fair enough.
it just he said it out loud. Everyone knew about it.
Yeah.
He wrote the team into corner.
Yeah, and that's been the story of like trying to balance in the other three items and set from then. Since then,
Yeah.
that's been the story. And
And
now
at some
they're
point
actually
they
and
went
now-
back, and it
Yeah.
was easier for the team.
Yeah, now they are in the legacy team. They're actually nerfing stuff and bringing stuff a little bit down and like kind of exploring different avenues of how to balance the game properly. Like, yeah. But we're in 2019 and this game is really old.
It is a real game. It's been through a ring for a couple of rounds.
Like it's actually a very interesting story because the game was not successful on release, but it's still considered a successful game now.
It was always considered a successful game. They just gave him a little flag for the server stuff that went down.
And the action house and the balance stuff.
I think the auction house problem never left the Diablo community.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
And all these other problems about balance and stuff like that, these are just like Diablo community problems. Like no one else cares about this. No one does, and there's still people playing, so it is a successful game.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, it's considered a successful game. Yeah. All right. Anything else that you want to add to close this gameplay, Diablo? I think the thing I'm gonna end up to is like Diablo 3 is a very, very fun to play in terms of gameplay. His combat is smooth. Every ability is like super satisfying to fire. Everything does different stuff. The classes has very, very good identity. Like
they have really
you
good
know that
class
the
identity.
Crusader is doing Crusader things, and it's very different to what the Wizard does, and it's very different to what the Witch Doctor in terms of design, in terms of how the abilities look, in terms of how the ability feels. They're very close to their lore reasons. Every single class, even the expansion ones, even the Necromancer feels very different, right?
Yeah. I would say that it is it always was a really polished game. Like all the things feel super nice when you're actually killing stuff.
Yes.
Like casting abilities, doing all of that, it feels super nice.
Yeah.
It's just that the problems are more meta problems than anything else.
Yes. If you take the game at face value and how fun is to play. In terms of like I take my controls and play and kill stuff on Diablo 3 is super, super good. Right?
It is super fun.
The scalability, the end game, the balance items, another story.
It is. And yeah, I'll finish on. I really like the game. Like
yes,
I may have given the impression that I don't like it because I give it a lot of flack, but I love the game. It's one of my favorite games.
We really love this game. That is true. That is true.
It's just that we're jaded veterans who have seen the problems.
We have seen everything. We have seen the horrors of unbalanced sets. We have seen the horrors.
But I still love the game. I'll still recommend the game to anyone.
Yes, if you want to have a good time with an RTS classic Diablo, see the lore, watch the story. I will recommend Diablo 3. Pick it up. It's a super good game. All right. Now, with that, we finish off deep dive and we move to an audience questions and feedback. Don't forget that you can write us down, pass by my stream, Twitter us, mail us, send mail pigeons, whatever you want. Smoke signs, we will take smoke signs too. Personal calls, stalker messages, we take it. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So for our audience questions and feedback, we have the first question of today is, when do you guys expect all the BlizzCon announcement games to drop?
Never.
like let's start with Diablo 4. When we will think that Diablo 4 will be released? What will you put your money on?
Summer 2021.
Summer 2021. That is, let's see. Let's pull up this calendar here.
Not
That
earlier
is
than that.
That is in like 2 years and a half.
Yeah, something like that.
2 years and a half. Summer 2021. With Diablo 3, I will put it 2 years.
Diablo 4? 2 years?
Well, sorry, with Diablo 4, I will put it 2 years.
Do you think? Did you know when was Diablo 3 announced?
I think it was 2009.
2008.
Oh my god! So 3 years before,
released
4 years before? No, 3 years and a half.
5
before.
years. No, it was
5
released
years after it was. Oh my god! All right.
No, I lie. It was. You're right. It was
2009.
2012. So it was 4 years.
4 years, right? 4 years since announcement. I don't know. I think they're more wiser company. I think they have better.
Do you think? Do you really think so?
I think they have better like stuff in terms of delivery, and they're not taking that much. With Overwatch, they just take 2 years, and when they showcase stuff, it was very alpha.
Yeah, but that was not the game that they were making.
What, Overwatch, when they showcase it first?
No, but like Overwatch or the remains of Titan, I think.
Yeah, of that a game that's been like in development for like 3 years, but that point before they. All right, yeah, I guess. All right.
Although they never announced Titan, that's fair. That was a leak.
Yeah. But that's fair. Yeah, they never announced it.
But
I will put my money. I will put my money on 2 years. There you go. So 2022, like summer, spring.
Yeah. Not less than that. It is Blizzard. Also, if they think they need more time, they will push back the releases.
Absolutely,
no doubts about it. So,
and they should. And now that they have this policy of like really wanting a lot of player feedback, I think it's gonna take them even more time to iterate.
Yeah, I don't think like for as much hate as Blizzard games can get. But at the end of the day, their releases are really well polished games, even if you don't like them.
Yes.
So
all right. Now
there you go.
Overwatch 2.
That Destiny 2 was never a Blizzard game, so.
Oh my god! Okay, why? Why will you have to like leave Destiny in peace? We haven't to bring it in.
Never.
We didn't have to bring him. Leave it in peace. Leave it in peace.
Because it launched on my beautiful safe place of Battle.net, where all the games are perfect and beautiful. And it was such a mess.
Oh my god.
It tainted my beautiful Battle.net.
I think that was most of an Activision problem. But anyways, we digress. To the question.
You cannot separate Activision from Blizzard now.
At this point, no.
They're the same thing.
To the question. So Overwatch 2. When do we expect Overwatch 2?
3 years. 4 years. That thing is not even close to completion at all.
Really? You just play like longer than Diablo 4?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Of course it is. Look at how they announced on BlizzCon. Diablo 4 was the main announcement.
Yes.
And that's probably because they feel somehow confident that it is definitely coming soonish.
Yes.
So 2 years. The next big announcement was clearly Overwatch 2.
Yes.
That means that they're not probably that they feel that one is a little bit further away.
Yeah.
It didn't release with it had a cinematic trailer and all the stuff, but it was not a big push for publicity.
Yes.
So Overwatch 2 is probably going to have a bigger push for publicity next year.
When it's close to be released, I would say.
When it's getting closer. So I feel like right now, not even 2 years, maybe 3 years or something.
Wow, you put in Overwatch 2 farther than Diablo 4.
Of course it is.
I think
farther.
I will give it to a year for Overwatch. A year and a half for Overwatch 2.
I love In Your Innocence.
It's because they have this esports scene to cater to. And esports scene wants to have constant engagement. And they cannot go deep into a
We'll,
development cycle and kind of
we'll
like
see.
leave dry their Overwatch 1.
Dude,
Maybe I'm talking
The StarCraft scene survive.
maybe
So
maybe I'm talking from a place of love, but
no, the StarCraft scene survive. So maybe they're banking that the Overwatch scene will survive.
all right, all right. I don't know. And then when will Shadowlands come out?
I really. Oh, Shadowlands is gonna come clearly next year. They all that WoW expansions are the only things that come every 2 years.
All
No
right.
fault.
Fair enough. Yeah, Shadowlands next year, not probably as the battle, which was like early
It's
at
not
the beginning of
early.
the year.
No, it's
They're gonna
probably
expect like around June, July, something like that.
yeah, like early summer is what everyone is saying, and
Yeah.
they said that it's a little bit slower, but that's definitely gonna come next year.
Yeah. So those are our three release windows for Diablo 4. We are kind of the same boat, like 2022, around 2022, some point in 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for Overwatch, I say a year and a half. Lucho says like 3 years. Don't even expect it.
Yeah.
And for Shadowlands, for sure, next year, some point in
Unless
in June or
something
July.
goes wrong with Shadowlands development, which shouldn't,
Yes.
it'll come next year.
Yeah.
They're already pre-selling it, like so.
Yeah, they're already pre-selling it, so it's gonna come soon.
Yeah.
What are your general feelings towards Diablo 4?
Yeah, and this question comes from actually the friend who introduced me to Diablo 2.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah.
So we like it. We talked about this last podcast, and
Yeah.
I really like it. I like that it's going back to being like a super dark, gritty game.
Absolutely.
I really want the systems to have a lot of deepness.
Yeah.
Like it seems to be going the right way with the skills and the talents and the runes.
Yeah.
And that the runes modify their skills and all that stuff seems to be going the right direction right now.
Yeah.
But I really wish for the systems to have a lot of deepness.
Absolutely. I think
because that's what I like in games. So
absolutely. For me, I think the most interesting part for Diablo 3, my general feeling is like the part of they have this very cool opportunity because they substantially reset the lore of the last three games in some shape or form, right? Because they destroy the cage where all the demons that we've been killing and collecting through all the past three games were, and now they're all back into the war. So they have this opportunity to kind of like not only for all players that know these demons and this stuff, but for new players to actually show them the very richness of the original lore of Diablo 1 and 2 in a very modernized and cool fashion. And I hope they take this chance and go and go deep in this dark world that is now, because all the evils are back in functioning form and the heaven is closed off, so it's going to be even darker than the first times, right? So I think one of the things that I like the most is that opportunity of like go very, very dark, very metal, very dire, and trying to be the shining beacon of the light, or not, in the Diablo universe.
Yeah, for me as usual, as long as the systems are deep enough, I'll get engaged with the game no matter what. So
yeah.
That's my main concern. I just want I just want to have a lot of options in the systems, and that I can actually engage with them in a meaningful way.
Yeah. That is true. All right, and that's it for today.
That's it. That's all for this week's episode. Once again, thanks for tuning into The Sweaty the Farmer and the Game Design. My name is Lucho, and you can find me on Twitter at Luis G. Polanco.
And I am the Long Name Gamer, and you can find me on Twitter at the Long Name Gamer, and on Twitch on twitch.tv/LongNameGamerTV, where I stream Mondays to Fridays. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And if you are watching us on YouTube, don't forget to do the bell thingy, because apparently it's very important. And leave us comments and everything. Do the Sweaty the Farmer and the Game Design. See you next time. Bye. And did you know no! When Columbus brought dry peppers back to Europe, Europeans were only familiar with the pepper spice, not the actual vegetable. Even if the pepper is not a vegetable, it's actually a fruit. But anyways, when they tasted the dry peppers from the New World, they found them even hotter than the black pepper they knew. For them, if something was hot, it was peppery. And so they named the new arrival pepper as well. However, peppers and pepper and peppers are totally different things.
And pepper was mostly eaten by the wealthy in the past, as so it was expensive and sought after. Traders formed. What?
What are you reading? You get lost.
I lost it. Yeah.
You can do it. Yes.
Pepper was mostly eaten by the wealthy in the past, as it was so expensive and sought after. Traders formed spice routes from India to Europe.
Yes,
and
I know.
And would often fight over them. I'm failing.
We're sorry, we're experiencing technical difficulties with a Lucho.
Yeah, my brain is shutting down. It's Sunday night when you're recording, so